Hello everybody and welcome back to a brand new episode of Formula One 2019 Career Mode. Today we go to the Mexican Grand Prix. So a track that I kind of struggle at a bit here. I will mention though that we have fallen down to 6 in the R&D order. So we've kind of fallen off a bit. So we might not even be in the top 10 in this race. But hopefully we can get up there. But we come to qualifying. We actually did make it to Q3 here for our qualifying effort. So I was pretty pleased with that, at least as we come through to see our attempt at our only Q3 lap. It wasn't the best lap. I made some mistakes here and there, but we come through here into this final sector at this point, heading down into the final few corners. This part of the track I always am so much slower than the AI at, so it's always a struggle there as we come through into this final corner now as we come around this long right bend. A little bit of oversteer, but we do correct it now as we come through to cross the line. At that moment we went P8, but unfortunately, as we sim the rest of the session, we did indeed drop to P10. So we will be starting in the 10th position to start this Mexican Grand Prix. So let's get straight into it.
The air may be thin here in Mexico City. The atmosphere is anything but. The crowd have been chanting and singing, not just this afternoon, but throughout the entire weekend. There's a great love for Formula One here, and no small amount of expectation. Let's hope today's Grand Prix can meet it. At 2,285 meters above sea level, the thin air of the Autodromo Hermanos Rodriguez poses a unique challenge, not just to a driver's skill, but to the efficiency of their engines as well. 17 corners make up a lap of this 2.6-mile circuit, and you can expect incredible speeds in excess of 220 miles per hour, and overtaking too into the hard braking zones of turns 1 and turn 4. With me today, of course, is Anthony Davidson. Now, I want to ask you about Lewis Hamilton. What a season they've had. A well-deserved championship victory, and the pressure now surely off, with the title already in the bag.
It really is well-deserved. I wouldn't say it's been a faultless title challenge, but certainly one that has been consistent and well-managed. Here's hoping they let off a bit of steam today and give us an exciting race.
Off the back of a fantastic qualifying session, it's time to see how our starting grid looks for today's race. Valtteri Bottas lines up on pole position, and Max Verstappen lines up alongside. Looking down the rest of the grid, we have Hamilton, Gasly, Charles Leclerc and Weber, Butler, Raikkonen, the Rainmaster and Roman Grosjean, Ricciardo, Kvyat, Carlos Sainz. They've taken a grid penalty, and Albon, Magnussen, Russell, Robert Kubica and Antonio Giovinazzi. Vettel and Sergio Perez completes our grid. And with preparations almost complete, let's head down to the track.
We're in a better grid position than we were expecting. Let's see if we can hold on to it.
Alright, we're ready to get going here for the Mexican Grand Prix. It is a 2-stop race for this one. Some drivers had grid penalties, so you did see we do now move up into the 9th starting position here behind the McLaren of Devin Butler as we get ready to start this formation lap and get underway here for the Mexican Grand Prix. Last time out, we actually had a pretty decent start in Japan, other than the fact that we got wrecked in turn 1, but hopefully we can have a solid start again here today for the Mexico Grand Prix now as we get ready to go green now as we have gridded up in our positions. It is Valtteri Bottas on the pole. Lewis Hamilton won the championship in the last episode now as we're ready to go green here for the Mexico Grand Prix. It's 5 red lights and now we are ready to go and it's lights out. We are underway here for the Mexican Grand Prix. Bottas leads the way alongside the Red Bull of, I believe that's Max Verstappen here as we make the long stretch down towards turns 1. It was a pretty solid start from myself, surprisingly enough. Now as we go down towards this first corner in that 9th position still as our teammate Roman Grosjean looks up our right hand side as we head down through turns 1, down into turns 2 and through this third turn just behind Kimi Raikkonen, getting out of the throttle quite a bit there as there was a pretty major checkup now as we head down the straightaway. Sebastian Vettel all the way back in that 19th position at this point after a qualifying issue in Q1 getting his lap invalidated, same as Sergio Perez now as we come through turns 5 I believe. This is behind us. It's Giovinazzi battling it out with our teammate of Roman Grosjean as we come through the couple right-handers heading down this short straightaway. Certainly not a bad start for us here in this race we had. It was pretty decent, to say the least. Now, as we come through the one of the tricky parts of this course, the S's now, as we head down through this right-hander led by the Ferrari in this little pack of Charles Leclerc. Now, as we head down the straightaway, sitting behind Kimi Räikkönen still, as we go into the right-hander. He is just behind Devin Butler in the McLaren. Obviously, last episode, Leclerc had a very rough day in the Japanese Grand Prix after colliding with myself in turns 1 on the first lap. In that incident, he would end up losing his winglet, or the side pod, and that destroyed his race. Now, as we come through on lap 3, we had actually started losing some ground to the guys up ahead of me, and now our teammate Grosjean was closing in, and it was becoming kind of evident to me that we were pretty slow through the corners compared to the AI, and that would allow them to close up here on the straightaway and have a chance to pass me. So I realized later on in this race that the downforce was an issue on the front wing, so we would have to end up making a change. Now, as we come through on lap 5, Grosjean putting on some pressure as we went down towards turns 1, and he makes a move up the inside, and there's contact there with our two Haas cars as we come through turns 3 and turns, I believe, 4 maybe now, as we come through on the exit of the corner. Grosjean takes the position there. So he moves up into P9, and we drop down to the 10th position. And this is really, like I said, when I was noticing it, they were catching me through the corners, and then they would just have enough speed on the straightaways with DRS because they're already close enough to just get past me now as we went down into the next set of right-handers. So certainly falling off the pace here now, and I would decide now on lap 7 that it was time to come in to make our first pit stop of the Mexico Grand Prix. Now, as we head down into this final corner, I was starting to deal with some overheating issues. Everything was going wrong, so we come through into the pit lane there, a little bit of oversteer, almost into the side of the wall. And as we come through to get down to the pit speed and head down the pit lane to make our first pit stop here. So far, Sebastian Vettel has only gained a couple positions at the start of this race. Now, as we come through into our pit box, it's a half-decent pit stop. It's a medium tire that goes onto our car. We will be making one more pit stop once again for the medium tire, and probably about another 10 to 15 laps, somewhere in that range now, as we would exit back on to the track here in the 20th position. Up ahead, it would be Robert Kubica on the hard tire in that 19th position. And I did not make that downforce on the front wing change at this point in the race, because at this point I didn't really realize why my car was so slow through the corners until we got towards the second pit stop. So I kept everything the same at that first pit stop, so we were still pretty slow in the corners, but we come through on lap 11, now passing all these guys that had come to the pit lane. We get ahead of our teammate Grosjean. Obviously, we pulled the undercut, and it does work in my favor. That's the reason we pit early, because I figured I could pull the undercut and get ahead now as we come through on lap 12, though, passing another group of cars, Devin Butler included. But Butler, he put on the soft tire, and he would run me down extremely quick as we came through the end of lap 13. Now, Butler right on the back of my gearbox at this point. The ERS is up to high, but I wasn't really interested in battling him too much because I realized at this point what was going on, and I figured it was no use battling him. Now, as we go down towards turns 1, it's Haas versus McLaren for myself and Grosjean, who's battling with Butler's teammate of Carlos Sainz. Now, as we head down through turns 2 and turns 3, so Butler takes a position, and through the corners, you can just see him driving away from us, and this is really when it was starting to come into my head what was wrong, unfortunately for us. Now, as we come to lap 16, just 21 laps to go at this point in the 8th position. Now, is our teammate Grosjean still right behind Carlos Sainz at this point. They were both closing in on me. There's you have a little bit of oversteer and a lockup on the right front. So nothing going well now as come through towards the end of lap 16. There behind us, there's a yellow flag as we go a little bit wide there. But Antonio Giovinazzi having issues now in the Alfa Romeo. So he is going to end up pulling off the track and be our first retirement here of the Mexican Grand Prix. Carlos Sainz, he would then run us down as well after this had happened as we came through. Now on lap 18, down the front straightaway, there you see Sainz making the move to my right-hand side. Perez has moved up into 10th past our teammate of Grosjean. So Sainz comes through to make the pass, unfortunately, and we continue falling down. Devin Butler actually had a mechanical issue. He was starting to fall off the pace at this point, so Sainz would run down Butler and actually get past him. Now as Perez, he already closes up on me, puts the pressure on me. Butler has fallen down to P8 at this point, but now Perez moves over to my right-hand side as we're both closing in pretty quickly on the back of Devin Butler as we go down towards turns 1, running Perez to the grass just about now. As we head into this first turn, Perez going to make a move on the right-hand side just about to Butler. Butler, but he thinks better of it now and fades in just behind us as our teammate, or fades in just behind Butler as our teammate Roman Grosjean is just behind me now. And as we came through on lap 21, now Grosjean putting the pressure on me as we look to the right-hand side of Devin Butler, who's still off the pace. So we blow past him, and now Grosjean, he's going to look to my right-hand side as we go down towards turns 1 as he tries to take the position, but we stay clear for the moment now. And I will mention Sebastian Vettel in the Ferrari, he did end up getting past us, and he had driven away already now as we came through out of turn 3, heading down the straightaway. Grosjean continuing to battle back now as we head down towards this 4th turn, side by side with our Haas Racing teammate of Roman Grosjean, nearly making contact, but we keep it clean so far now as we come through this right-hander, still side by side, now into the double right-hander, and Grosjean takes over the position. And as we came to lap 23, we actually had kind of stuck with Grosjean better than I expected, but I figured we're going to come to pit road this time and make our final pit stop with just 14 to go here in the Mexico Grand Prix. We come through this penultimate corner down into the last corner, and to my surprise though, Roman Grosjean would actually come into the pit lane this time, so we would have to stay out another lap, so we would lose a lot of time. Charles Leclerc, who just made a pit stop, had gotten up to my gearbox now, so now the next time around, down through into this final corner again, we would come through into the pit lane to make a pit stop. Unfortunately, Grosjean, he's definitely going to be able to gain some time and pull away from us likely when we come out of our pit box now as we head down into this pit lane for our second and final pit stop here of the Mexican Grand Prix. It looks like Kevin Magnussen is also in the pit lane there as he is going to be putting on the hard tires. We throw the medium tire on. A rough day so far now as our teammate Roman Grosjean is coming through. Sainz makes the pass, I believe that was. Owen Butler now as Grosjean, he also comes through to complete the pass, and he is quite a ways down the straightaway, multiple seconds ahead of us. So now we know we have our work cut out for us. I did make the downforce change on the wing on that pit stop, and it would certainly start to pay off. I think I put it up to 6 or 7, if I remember correctly, there as we came through to pass Alex Albon, who was on the soft tire. Now as we move up to P13 here on lap 26, as we come through towards the end of lap 26, we were starting to close in on Grosjean, actually coming through to set my personal best lap of the Grand Prix, over a second better. So certainly making the downforce change was the right call now as we move up to P12 due to a Williams being in the pit lane. And now as we come through on lap 30, continuing to close in on the back of Grosjean, now down to 1.3 seconds. If only we had made this adjustment earlier, or even before the race had even started, we could have been up maybe 7th or 8th or even better. So unfortunate that we didn't realize what was wrong until later in the race, but I managed to get the adjustment in, and it was certainly paying off here in these final stages. Now, as the last couple races have been pretty rough on us, another somewhat rough one today. We weren't really expected to finish like 7th or 8th because we've dropped down to 6th right now in the R&D standings, so that's unfortunate. Now as we cut the gap to 1.2 seconds to Roman Grosjean, and now as we came to lap 32, DRS on the back of our teammate Grosjean, we would make the move to the right hand side of him as Alexander Albon lurking in the back, though Grosjean has the edge as we go through turns 1 and down into turns 2. We're going to stay on that outside, and we make the move work through turns 3, and we take over the position from our teammate Grosjean up into P11, but unfortunately Butler's way down there, and it doesn't look like we're going to have enough time to run him down. He's 3.7 seconds ahead at this point here with 5 laps to go in the Mexico Grand Prix. So it looks like it might be another P11 now as came through into turns 1 here with 4 laps to go. Doing my best to close in on Butler now as Grosjean was under attack from Alex Albon here as we come through on the exit of turns 3. And as we came to just 2 laps to go, the gap between myself and Butler had kind of stayed the same. Albon, though, has gotten past Roman Grosjean here in these final laps now as we come through turns 3 again, heading down the straightaway. And as we came towards the final lap of this race, Albon still ahead of Grosjean, but Grosjean had the DRS now, 3.1 seconds to Devin Butler. So we gained a little bit of time, but unfortunately not even close to being enough now. As you see on the track map, though, behind us, Grosjean making a move on Alexander Albon as we go down into turns 1 and turns 2 as well as turns 3. Albon trying to defend over Grosjean, but it looks like Grosjean might have the opportunity. Albon still ahead and the moment there behind us as they continue to duke it out, but Lewis Hamilton has come through to win the Mexican Grand Prix, and it would be Bottas in that second position and Max Verstappen rounding off the podium, as once again no Ferraris on the podium, as that's becoming a common streak, and I feel like that kind of betters our chances to be at Ferrari next season as we have a ton of oversteer here on this final lap through the S's now as we head head down through the left-hander. Grosjean, though, had moved up into that 12th position, so it's going to be a Haas of P11 and P12 unless myself or Grosjean makes a major mistake. There is who make a mistake than myself. Going a little bit wide now as we head down through this final sector. A lot of confetti going off. Such a cool sight coming through on this final lap here in the Mexican Grand Prix as we head down into the final corner. And unfortunately, it's going to be 3 straight finishes outside of the top 10. This one kind of expected. Now as we come through to finish in P11.
Sorry about that. I guess it can't all go to plan. Bring her in. We'll go over what happened in the debrief.
So Mercedes have won it, and what a great race it was. Tell me, Ant, how did they manage to achieve this win?
Well, they certainly stood out as a driver with tons of confidence on the track. I think their ability to keep their cool, even during some of the more hectic parts of the race, meant they were able to capitalise on the mistakes of other drivers, giving them the opportunity to make their way to the top spot with ease.
So after a magnificent race, we can now see the drivers making their way to the podium. Once again, it's the Silver Arrows who take top spot, a well-earned victory for Mercedes.
Another great run for Lewis Hamilton, who gets, I think, like win number 12 or 13 on the season as he has continued to dominate our rookie season in Formula 1. There you see his 137-point lead. Obviously, he won the championship in the last episode. Mercedes won the Constructors' Championship, as well as they have a well over 200-point lead already on Ferrari there as we get 11th and 12th for Haas. Unfortunately, like I said, that we dropped down to P6 in the R&D standing, so it was kind of expected to be somewhere around there. Would have been nice if we could have gotten to top 10, but we're going to make some upgrades going into the next one there as our rev falls down with Haas, but thankfully it doesn't fall with Ferrari. Hopefully we can get a little bit higher going towards the end of the season. But as always, if you guys enjoyed this episode, make sure to comment, like, and subscribe. Those would all be very, very appreciated. And the next one, it is the United States Grand Prix, so just south of the border for me. So hopefully we can have a good run there. So I will see you guys in the next episode. So thank you for watching, everybody, and have yourselves a great day.